So you were the guy that wrangled the baddies? Were you the...
Marky Mark. Okay, so Brett and I have been talking.
Yeah, hate to break it to you, sweetie, but he's fucking everybody.
I watched the full BGL interview, so you don't have to. The original interview is over 2 hours long and kind of boring because it mostly talks about BGL. Whereas I'm just here for Bapa's Orange Chicken and not BGL's sob story. Anyways, there's some spicy details that have come to light, like who wrangled the baddies for Bapa, the real truth behind Brendan buying his mother-in-law a house, and Brendan cheating on his wife and telling his side pieces that he's gonna have kids with them. If you want to stay updated on the Bapaverse, please be sure to subscribe. If you like the video, leave a comment. With that being said, the first clip is about who wrangled the baddies for Bapa. Roll the clip, Chin.
Okay. Now I do want to talk about, because it is all over the place, the these baddies. So were you the guy? So you were the guy that wrangled the baddies?
I'll be very specific here. I was relaying messages back and forth. So these messages would come at like all hours of the day. Like that's one of the more exhausting parts of the job, and kind of why I was offended when Brendan would be like, "Oh, Mark's like not working hard enough." It's like, dude, I'm on call for you 24/7 doing the stupidest shit, like fielding your like social media, check my DMs requests. So it's very exhausting because it's such an inefficient use of anyone's time. And I think the only reason that he had somebody else do this was plausible deniability to his wife that how could I be cheating on Instagram? I don't even have it on my phone, you know, because it's like, then it's like, what do you want me to say? Then I get this and screenshot it and send it back to you. It's like the stupidest fucking game of telephone I've ever played. You're creating this, you know, third party of receipts for the dirt that you're doing. It's a stupid use of anyone's time. Eventually he stopped doing it. He's got his own phone, but it was like every time he'd ask, and it's like 11 p.m. and, you know, I'm with my wife and we're about to go to bed. And then I see a text light up and it's like 1 second, I have to like relay a message, like, you know, a winking emoji from Brendan and ask if she's going to be around. And this, it's like, and he's also just like the worst flirter of all time. You know, it's like a fucking 8th grader trying to pick up girls. So
Can you imagine having to do Bapa's dirty work and text all these women at all hours of the day and night so that your boss can get laid? I'll be honest, it's kind of embarrassing for BGL that he was going along with it and texting all these baddies on Schwab's behalf. A normal person would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So this next clip is Netflix. It's about Brendan cheating on his wife and a voicemail from Bapa's side piece to BGL about how Brendan is lying about the reason why BGL got fired. Let's take a look.
Interesting stuff out there. You blatantly said that Brendan Schaub has cheated on his wife, right? And that is something you did say that. You did. I mean, first of all, who released the screenshot? Was it Luana or you?
I do not know. I did not release them.
Why do I not believe you here? How did this get released then? I mean, you signed off on it, said that this was.
Yeah, they're real.
True.
Can I post them publicly? No,
Yeah.
I didn't. Have I had extended conversations with people where after I've heard that Brendan Schaub is calling me a wife beater drug addict and that's why he had to fire me, and it wasn't just because I didn't text him back for a few hours. Let me just, I don't know, you want to hear a voicemail of this person saying this?
And who is this person you're talking of?
It's one of his side pieces.
Marky Mark. Okay, so Brett and I have been talking. Told me that he had to fire you due to drug abuse and domestic violence. But I just wanted to let you know that's what he's telling people. That's not a good look for you. He's just flipping the script like he usually does and saying you're the crazy one and he had to fire you because you were abusive to your wife and you have a drug addiction.
And then it was verified by another one of his side pieces, you know, who he claims all these girls are the only ones that he talks to and, you know, he's going to leave his wife for. Turns out that's not the case. So when I told him that and he goes, you know, I'm like, yeah, hate to break it to you, sweetie, but he's fucking everybody. If he's telling you this crazy bullshit, you're the only one and I'm going to leave my wife for you and let's have kids together and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, chicks will get mad because they see he's doing like in vitro fertilization with his wife. You know, it's fucked up. It's fucked up to mislead people like that. I don't know how much of that was explicitly said. I think a lot of it was, you know, like this one in particular was like, we went like, we talked about fertility clinics and I had this image in my head of us walking down the aisle. Like, so this chick in particular was convinced that she was going to fucking marry him and have kids with him. If a guy's telling you that, maybe you believe it. And
Baba's scumbagginess never ceases to amaze me. On one hand, he's doing IVF with his wife, and on the other, he's gaslighting women into thinking he's gonna give them chombies. Like, Baba ain't rich enough for all those child payments, just like he isn't rich enough to buy his mom a house, and here's BGL exposing him for it.
You know, an inside source of mine said he had a house lined up, and then it was time to put the down payment down, and he didn't have that money in the account, so he made up some lie. He told the real estate agent to, like, lie to his mother-in-law and say there was something wrong that needed to be fixed. You know, it's like, oh, the foundation is off, or, you know, when you go through the checklist of buying a home, the inspection, that there was something that happened in the inspection that means that they'd have to put it off, and it's a sign to maybe not buy right now. That's from an inside source. I'm not speculating. That's from somebody who, like, was involved in this search and had access to see was the money available to put in escrow, and it wasn't. So there was at least some deception on his part involved in putting off this moment until now. And so maybe they found something cheaper, or maybe he became flush with cash, or something happened that he was able to do this. Do you think he ever misses a moment to promote himself as somebody who, like, does good and gives to people? Now, like, I'm not taking away the fact that he is doing that, but I'm also aware of various instances in which he has misrepresented the amount of charitable giving that he's done, or the nature of him buying things for other people. Let's say, for example, I forgot if I bring this up before, but let's say, like, he said he bought a car for somebody, and turns out that he only paid for like a tenth of it, or like 3 out of the 36 payments that are due on a lease. But then he's still talking about, at the end of those 36 months, 36 monthly payments. Let's say at the end of those payments, he's still bragging about it and saying, like, I've been paying for this person's car. What would you think about that? Like, is that still a good, sweet guy, or is that a pathological liar who uses deception to present himself as someone generous to deflect from the fact that he can be selfish and exploitative? That's one example. There's other examples of, like, he's saying, oh, I'm going to give to Hurricane Harry victims, and then somebody asks about him, like, at a meet and greet. They're like, oh, it's so cool when you gave to Hurricane Harry. He's like, what? Like, he didn't know what they're talking about. That's like a famous story. So again, not taking away from anything that he's done, but there are documented instances, like the thing with Ray Borg, where he's like, I got your whole medical bills covered. But then it's like, then why is he still raising money for it if you covered his entire medical bills like 6 months later? So I think he makes big promises. Sometimes he follows through on them. Sometimes he falls very short. We don't hear about the times that he falls very short, but he enjoys making the big promise and kind of getting the high off of that. And I'm not even judging that like that's malicious, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be like, I'm going to do this grand thing. And then you're like, oh shit, I don't have the money or the time, or like your promises can catch up with you. You write a check that your ass can't cash. And that happens to everybody. I just see it as a little bit more of a pattern with him, and I've seen it up close.
Maybe I'm too simple of a man, but why the fuck wouldn't you just tell your mom and wife that you can't afford it? Why is lying the first thing that comes to Baba's mind? It speaks to how big of a piece of shit person he is. But Baba loves to feel like he's a good guy, that he's the nicest guy ever, that he gets taken advantage of. Like, we all know Brenda loves the smell of his own farts. But that's literally the only interesting stuff that I found from that 2-hour interview, so you're welcome that you didn't have to waste your day watching that shit. So to close off this video, here's BGL addressing his wife beating allegations.
Come on, you were the talk of the town. You were the man on top of the world with the Fighter and Kid subreddit. Yeah. And now you're public enemy number one. How does this happen within a month? What's going on here?
How the turntables have turned. So, you know, the long and short of it is, you know, I had a very public split with my wife, and she decided to go fully nuclear on me and preemptively released some videos on me that are obviously very unflattering. And I have, some people know the explanation or my side of events for the particular videos that she's released or the story. These are all things that we had mutually agreed to never release. You know, the things that I've released and will be releasing are things that we kind of had a pact. It's like, hey, we don't want to do this to each other. She decided to go nuclear, and I've just been kind of formulating my response to this, because obviously the standard advice in this case, or not standard, but a lot of people say, hey, just lay low for a while. And it's like, well, I'm not going to let somebody try to frame me as a wife beater when I've never hit a woman in my life, and just, you know, take it laying down. So I've been compiling my version of events. I had a pretty dark weekend where I felt like I was just being roundly attacked and, kind of felt like my life was over for a minute because, we are in a society now.